In 1844, a railway was proposed to link the Great Western Railway at Oxford to the Grand Junction Railway at Wolverhampton via Evesham and Worcester. The Oxford, Worcester and Wolverhampton Railway would serve the industries in the Black Country and weaken the monopoly of the London and Birmingham Railway. Royal assent was given on August 4, 1845, with construction beginning in August of 1846, under the control of the legendary engineer Isambard Kingdom Brunel. One feature of the line is a tunnel running under Rainbow Hill in the city of Worcester, built in 1852 and measuring 212 yards long. At the south end of the tunnel sits Shrub Hill Station, built in 1850, which was also a junction with the Worcester and Hereford Railway and would grow into a major locomotive depot. In 1860, the Oxford, Worcester and Wolverhampton Railway became part of the West Midland Railway, which was then amalgamated into the Great Western Railway in 1863, which ran the line until 1948, when it became part of the Western region of British Railways upon nationalisation. On the 2nd of January 1976, high winds battered the area around the city of Worcester, with damage to trees and telegraph poles, many being blown down. By about 10 minutes past midnight on January the 3rd, all the obstructions on the line had been removed, but communications between Droitwich Spa and Worcester Tunnel Junction signal boxes had been severed. While it was being repaired, time interval working was introduced by both signalmen. Time interval working was an old system of keeping trains apart by holding a train for a set amount of time to allow the train ahead of it to clear the section. This method of control was unreliable and imprecise, so all trains passing through this section were given verbal instructions from the signalman with attached warnings. At 9:04 am, a train designated 3 Victor 01 arrived at Droitwich Spa. 3 Victor 01 was a parcel train consisting of a single goods utility van, otherwise known as a GUV, being hauled by a Class 31 diesel-electric locomotive number 31241, built in 1960. On board was driver A.P. Harrison and guard P.S.H. Craig, travelling from Birmingham to Worcester. Upon its arrival, signalman A.E. Crowther left his signal box and spoke directly to guard Craig, stating, "The block instruments and bells are out of order between Droitwich and Tunnel Junction. There is no telephone communication. All the telephones are out of order. We are working on time interval system, and will you proceed cautiously through the section and pass signal 70 at danger?" With this, 3 Victor 01 then departed, entering the section just before 9:08 am. At 9:13 am, a Class 52 diesel hydraulic locomotive number D1055 Western Advocate arrived at Droitwich. On board was driver A.J.E. Jenkins and guard L.R. Gretorix. They, along with Western Advocate, had already passed through the affected area earlier that morning with a goods train from Gloucester to Bescot, and now was returning light to Gloucester. Cinnamon Crawford once again left his box and talked directly to driver Jenkins. He repeated what he said to 3 Victor 01, adding, "Will you draw down to signal 71 to clear the junction, and I shall keep you there for a minute or two until a suitable time has elapsed. Then I will clear signal 71 and you will pass the advanced starting signal at danger, and proceed cautiously to Tunnel Junction. Keep a sharp lookout." As instructed, Western Advocate then pulled down to signal 71, where it waited until 9:18 am before departing, 10 minutes after 3 Victor 01. Further down the line, 3 Victor 01 was proceeding cautiously, at a speed of somewhere around 25 miles an hour. The weather was clear and sunny with high winds. At about 9:22 am, the train came to a halt before the home signals for Tunnel Junction, which sat just before Rainbow Hill and was set at danger. Driver Harrison left his cab and used the telephone at the signal to call Signalman C. Haynes. Harrison informed the box of the train's presence before receiving instructions to put his engine on shed after disposing of his train. At approximately 9:24 a.m, the driver climbed back into his cab, released the train's brakes and prepared to set off. Then, without warning, they received a severe jolt, which was described by guard Craig as not so much as an impact as a tremendous push forward. Craig then left the cab to discover that Western Advocate had slammed into the back of their train at around 45 miles per hour, utterly wrecking the GUV. Craig then proceeded to race back down the line to protect his train with flag and detonators, while driver Harris used the phone again to contact Signalman Haynes. Thankfully, word spread to both signal boxes before another train could enter the section, and further disaster was averted. Emergency services reached the site within 15 minutes, but it was already too late. Driver Jenkins and guard Gretorix on Western Advocate had been killed in the collision. It took several hours to recover their bodies from the wreck, and the line was cleared and reopened by 10:59 p.m. that evening. A report into the collision by Major A.G.B. King was released in September of 1977. It was clear that there had been little to no brake application from Western Advocate, and after a series of tests, mechanical failure was ruled out as a cause. In his conclusion, Major King wrote, "Whenever the driver of a train is instructed to pass a signal at danger, he is required by the rulebook to proceed cautiously in accordance with the signalman's instructions. Signalman Crawford had correctly warned all other drivers of the circumstances that had existed, and had been clearly understood by them. I believe that he properly warned driver Jenkins as described, and instructed him to pass the Droitwich advanced starting signal at danger. I conclude that driver Jenkins then failed to proceed cautiously and to keep an adequate lookout, allowing his attention to wander to such an extent that he either did not realise he was approaching Tunnel Junction home signal, or on seeing the signal cleared for 3 Victor 01 as he was about to brake and come to a stand at it, and failing to see the other train ahead. He forgot the warning in section H3.21 of the rulebook and assumed it had been cleared for him. The collision thus resulted from driver Jenkins' failure to proceed cautiously and to observe the rules applicable to time interval working. I assume that guard Gretorix also failed to assist him by keeping a lookout. As to why they failed to keep a lookout may never be known. Pathological tests conducted on their bodies found no explanation to their lack of caution, and one fire officer would state he did not think that either man knew of the impending collision. Western Advocate was withdrawn from service after the accident and was never repaired, being scrapped sometime after January of 1976. 31241 was repaired and put back into service, lasting until 1982 before being withdrawn and scrapped at Spindon Works.